Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Goblin Biker deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an awesome rank 3 deck that I've included all sorts of spicy tech cards in this build for you guys. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like in your name description, every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Doug. Doug is definitely a 3 of in the build with a crazy powerful effect that if this card's in your hand, you can detach an XZ material from a monster on either field, and if you do, special summon this card. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can add a Goblin Biker spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which we have a bunch of cards that Doug can actually search. We then play 2 copies of Mean Merciless. Mean Merciless is great in the deck as a 2 of, and it's also a Fiend monster, so you can actually summon this card off of Tour Guide. This card has the ability, if this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon a Goblin monster from your hand. It also has a crazy powerful effect that during your main phase, if this card's in the graveyard, you can detach an XZ material from a monster on either player's field, and if you do, special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. We then play a single copy of Clattersploder. Clattersploder is definitely a 1 of in the build. You only really need a single copy of this card because it has the ability, if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually target a goblin monster in the graveyard and special summon it. And during your opponent's main phase, if this card's in the graveyard, quick effect, you can detach an XZ material from a monster on either player's field, and if you do, special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. We then play a single copy of Boom Mac. Boom Mac is definitely a 1 of, but you only need a single copy of this card. It has the ability once per chain during the main phase. If this card's in the hand or the graveyard, quick effect, detach a material from a monster on either field, and if you do, special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon a copy of this card until the end of the next turn, which is not that big of a deal because you're just summoning this card out to your side of the field so you can XZ summon. But it's amazing that your Goblin Bikers can all detach cards from either player's field, so if you're playing up against a deck that has XZ monsters, it's very easy to get rid of their materials to be able to summon out monsters to our side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Tour Guide from the Underworld. Tour Guide is one of the best normal summons in the entire deck because when this card is normal summon, you can special summon a level 3 Fiend monster from your hand or deck, which is amazing because you can summon out another copy of Tour Guide, or you can summon out your copy of Mean because it's actually a Fiend monster, which is really cool. We then play 3 copies of Terror Top. Terror Top is definitely a 3 of in the build because this card is finally back at 3 with the ability, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. And when this card is normal summon or special summon, you can actually add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to instantly get our copy of Tekatomborg directly from our deck to our hand, which is super powerful because if you control a wind monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is a really cool ability. We can play a single copy of Psychic Wielder and a single copy of Psychic Tracker. These cards basically do the exact same thing that if you control a level 3 monster, you can special summon them from your hand. We can play a single copy of Virtual World Hime. Virtual World Hime is really good as a 1 of in the build, as this card has a great effect that if a level 3 monster is normally special summoned to your field while this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon this card as a tuner but banish it when it leaves the field. Also, for the rest of the turn, you can only special summon level or rank 3 or higher monsters, which is totally fine because it's pretty much all we're summoning anyways. And if this card is banished, you can actually target one of your other banished cards and shuffle it into the deck to help you basically get one of your cards back and put it back into the deck. We then play 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. This card is really good this format, and with E-Telly in the deck, it's very easy to summon this card out to your side of the field because it's a psychic monster, which helps out a lot in the build, but this card is amazing in the deck because it pops cards on the field. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's really good at stopping your opponent from touching the deck. We then also play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler helps out a lot in the build just to basically stop your opponent's monster effects. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Rhoda. Rhoda's really good in the deck as a one-of to be able to search out our warriors from our deck to our hand. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is great in the deck as a one-of just to stop your opponent's hand traps while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play a single copy of Ghost Trick Shot. Ghost Trick Shot is amazing because basically with any two level 3s in the deck, you can make a copy of Utopic Draco Future, with this card having the ability to special summon a Ghost Trick monster from your hand or graveyard, which is an amazing ability to be able to use this card because all you have to do to be able to summon out Utopic Draco Future is basically make a copy of Alucard, which is super easy to do with any level 2, level 3 monsters. Then make a copy of Angel of Mischief, and once you make your copy of Angel of Mischief, you'll detach your copy of your Alucard off to be able to special summon or be able to add this card to your hand, then be able to add your copy of Ghost Trick Shot, activate it, bring back your copy of Alucard back to your side of the field, make another copy of Angel of Mischief, and then overlay both of these cards to make Utopic Future, and then Utopic Draco Future, which is amazing because for basically 2 level 3s, you get a walking negate that's extremely hard for your opponent to deal with, but you do play one brick in the deck, which is your one copy of Ghost Trick Shot, which is totally fine because it's so easy to be able to just not draw into, because this deck is a little over 40 cards, so you don't draw into it often. We then play 2 copies of Grand Bash. Grand Bash is one of my favorite cards in the entire deck. You could probably play this card at 1, but I really like it at 2. It has the ability of Goblin monsters that you control gain 300 attack for each Goblin monster that you control, which actually does stack, which is super cool. So if you have 2 of these on the field, they gain 600 attack points, and I've gotten Goblin monsters on the field that are absolutely massive when you play 2 copies of this card in the deck. And it also has the ability during your main phase, you can normal summon a Goblin monster in addition to your normal summon or set, which is a really cool ability, and you only gain this effect once per turn. You can also target 2 Goblin monsters that you control, and then activate one of these abilities to make the level of one of those monsters become the current level of the other, or both of their levels become the combined level of the both of the monsters, which is really cool because you can actually make rank 6s that way. We then play 3 copies of Grand Entrance. Grand Entrance is really good as a 3-of in the deck, basically being a Rhoda for your Goblin cards, letting you add a Goblin monster from your deck to your hand. Then you can apply the following effects to detach an Exi material from a monster on either field, and if you do, special summon a level 4 lower Goblin monster from your hand. You can also banish the card in the graveyard and then detach an Exi material from a monster on either field. Then you can add a Goblin monster from your graveyard to your hand. So this card is definitely a 3-of in the build. Finally, we play 3 copies of E-Telly. E-Telly is so important for the deck because it's so easy to special summon monsters out from the deck with this card. It's just a really good 3-of in the build. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Goblin Biker Grand Pileup. Pileup is really good as a 1-of in the build, but you only need a single copy of this card. It lets you target an Exi monster that you control and special summon a Goblin Exi monster from your extract by using that target as a material, and if you do, attach this card to it as a material. And this is treated as an Exi summon, and you transfer its materials to the summoned monster. You can also banish this card from the graveyard and then target a Goblin Exi monster that you control and 1 card in either graveyard and attach the targeted card from the graveyard to that monster on the field as a material, which is a pretty cool ability to be able to grab cards out of the grave. We then play a single copy of Full Armored XZ. The Armored XZ package just goes so well in this deck that you have to play this card as a 1-of. It's so easy to be able to resolve, especially with your copies of Torpedo, helping go into Full Armored Dark Knight Lancer, which is such a powerful boss monster. We then finally play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is just really good at stopping your opponent's monster effects and also locking down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Goblin Biker Big Kabunga. Cowabunga, dude. This card is definitely a 2-of in the deck. It's really cool. With the ability to hit this card as XZ summon, you can actually add a Goblin monster from your deck to your hand. And if a material is detached from a monster on the field, except during the damage step, you can actually target a face-up monster on the field, accept this card, and attach it to this card as a material. Also, during the end phase, if you can actually activate the ability to attach a Goblin monster from your deck to this card as a material, which is such a cool effect. We can play a single copy of the Turtle. Turtle is really good just as a 1-of in the deck. You don't need more than a single copy. I really like this card because it has the ability that while 3 or more XZ materials are attached to monsters on the field, Goblin monsters that you control can attack directly, which is one of my favorite effects on any of these XZ monsters because it's so cool to be able to attack directly and surprise your opponent. This card also has a pretty cool effect that once per turn, if a monster is normally special summoned while this card is in the monster zone, you can actually target one of those monsters and detach a material from a monster on either player's field and do change the targeted monster's battle position, which is an insane ability just to be able to switch a monster's battle position. Also, once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can actually detach a material on this card on either field, and if you do, negate the attack, which can actually come up really handy. We then play a single copy of Goblin's Crazy Beast. Crazy Beast is really cool just as a 1-of in the deck that you can pretty easily go into. With the ability once per turn, quick effect, you can actually target a spell trap on the field, detach 2 materials from this card, or detach 2 materials from monsters on the field, and if you do, attach that target to this card as a material, which is a pretty cool effect. We then play a single copy of Azure King. Azure King is a walking negate, which is insane. It can attack equal to the amount of materials it has, and also gains 200 attack for each material it has, which is a pretty cool ability. We then play a single copy of Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. Gossip Shadow is a really cool card that once per turn, when an opponent activates and its effect, it actually has the ability that quick effect, you can detach 2 materials on this card, and the activated effect of that monster becomes both players draw a card, which basically makes this card kind of sort of an interruption. We then play a single copy of Torpedo. Torpedo is great in the deck as a 1-of, and you always want to go into this card first to detach 2 materials from this card to draw a card, then make your copy of Fortress, and then detach your copy of Torpedo to add your Armored XZ trap card to your hand, set it to your side of the field, and then on the follow-up, go into your copy of Dark Knight Lancer. Dark Knight Lancer is great in the deck as a boss monster, and it's super easy to summon out to your side of the field, because you can also XZ summon this card using your copy of Torpedo, which is absolutely amazing. This card is just really good at basically attaching cards on the field to it, and it's really insane how large this card can get. We then play a single copy of Alucard. Alucard's in the deck as a 1-of because you basically just use this card to make your copy of Angel of Mischief, which we play as a 2-of in the build, and then use Angel of Mischief to search out your copy of Ghost Trick Shot, like I showed you guys in the combo before, to be able to activate Ghost Trick Shot to bring back your Alucard that you detached from the graveyard to your side of the field, and then make another Angel of Mischief, and then overlay both Angel of Mischiefs into your copy of F-Zero Utopic Future, and then once you do, you go into your copy of Utopic Draco Future, which is amazing because this card is a walk-in gate. It's going to be really tough for your opponent to deal with this card because it's absolutely crazy. We then buy a single copy of Zeus. Zeus is just really good in the deck as a 1-of. So basically just use this card to board wipe the field. So that's it for the deck, guys. I would enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Goblin Biker deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's so fun to be able to play. And it's really cool the amount of XZ monsters you can actually make with this deck. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.